Okay, so here is another problem. So like I said, we kind of like want to get a checklist going in our head. Is this a problem where I could just solve for x? The answer is no, because you have an x cubed and x to the first. Is this a problem I can factor? Well, it is a trinomial, but we have x cubed and then x to the first, so that's not going to work. This number needs to be twice that number if you have a chance in factoring it. I'm not going to be able to use complete the square, so I'm going to use that last method that I just showed you. I'm going to figure out my possible zeros. So I'm going to take the factors of 2 over the factors of 1. So that's only 4 possible zeros. You only need to plug in 1. So take a second and find just one number that works. So there are a couple of numbers that definitely work. I chose to plug in 2. So 2 cubed is 8, minus 3 minus 2, minus 2 gives you 0. You could, if you found another number that works, that's fine. Now the thing is you're probably thinking, well, couldn't I just stop there? Well, once you find your 2 zeros, you have to figure out which one is squared, because keep in mind, this is cubed, so we should have a total of 3 zeros. And there's going to be repetition in 1. So what I'm going to do, because I know that 2 works, I'm going to put 2, my little box, and I'm going to write down my coefficients. 1, 0, negative 3, negative 2. I did put 0 because there wasn't something with an x squared here, so there's a gap. Now, if you don't like this shortcut, that's fine. You can do x minus 2 and do long division this way. It works the exact same way. This is just a shortcut. So I'm going to bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. This is what I want. I found out that number was a 0, which means I should have a 0 remainder. So I have 1 as my constant, x squared. So now what I can do is I can try to factor this. What can I multiply to get 1? What can I add to get 2? 1 and 1. So there's my factored form. I know that x minus 2 works because 2 is a 0. And if you want, you could rewrite the x plus 1s twice as squared. And there's your factored form. I could then graph it because I know I'm going through 2 and I'm going through negative 1. It should actually touch negative 1 since there's an even power. So everything that we've been working on up to the quiz, and now it's all coming together. It's one big circle. So here's another one. Find the x-intercepts. We're solving for x. What are our methods? Can I factor it? Can I use complete the square? And sometimes there's more than one method. But if you can get x by itself, then do it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides, divide by 9, and take the square root. When you take the square root, you should have a plus or minus. Now, I can actually clean this up a little bit because if you take the square root of a negative, that's going to give me I. And the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. And you could put that I in front or after. It's up to you. So those are the imaginary solutions. And that's one where that method is not going to work, where we found those possible zeros. So I kind of always use that as a last resort. If I notice it can't be factored, I can't do complete the square, and I can't solve for x, then I go to that. Okay? All right, so let's kind of go through our checklist. Can I just solve for x? Do I just have x squared or x? No. Can this be factored? What can I multiply to get 2? What can I add to get 2? Nothing. So it is a trinomial, x squared and then x to the first. This means I can use complete the square. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add over, actually subtract the 2, get my c, take half of 2 and square it. Factor this, just using complete the square. And so if I wanted vertex form, I would just move the 1 back over. But because I'm actually solving for x, I'm trying to find the x-intercepts, I'm going to take the square root, maybe plus or minus I. Remember, negative 1, square root of that is just I. And then subtract 1. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus I. Okay, so you can see that not all your solutions are always going to be real. All right, take a second, look at this one. What do you notice? Do you notice that every single piece has an X? Well, if you see something like that, factor it out. And if you see an X out front, I just factor it out too, because it's probably just going to make your life more difficult. Now, when I factor out this negative X, that tells me I have a 0 at 0. So then from here, what we need to figure out is, can this be factored? So let's try it, see what happens. We're going to do Martinsville method. Take the 2 to the negative 1. What can you multiply to get negative 2 and add to get 1? Positive 2, negative 1. So this is our completely factored form. So we have a 0 at 0, negative 2, and 1. And that's what we're looking for. All right, here's what I want to find the zeros. So take a second and think about which method would work best. Can't solve for X. It's not a good complete the square problem. What I do notice is that this is twice the amount of that, so I can factor it. I'm going to put x cubed and x cubed. What can you multiply to get 1, but add to get negative 2? From here, you can factor this further. This is a SOAP problem. Same, opposite, always positive. Take the cube root, cube root. This comes from squaring this. This comes from multiplying these two together. And this comes from squaring that. Then you can factor this further. What can you multiply to get 1 and add to get 1? Well, nothing. So what you're going to have to do here is complete the square. So I'm going to pause it for a second and let you try that and play it when you're ready to see it. Okay, so I did complete the square off to the side. If you want to check, so I took, this is 1. Half of 1 is a half, and a half squared is a fourth. So I added a fourth to both sides. That gave me negative 3/4 on the right. When you factor, it's always half of whatever this number is. And then I took the square root. Since I'm taking the square root of a negative, I have I, and then I subtracted the 1/2. All right, so again, we're finding the x-intercept, so think about what method would work for this. It doesn't look like a complete the square. Something I do notice is that both of these have an x cubed, so you can start by factoring that out. And from there, you can set each of these equal to 0. So that's going to give me a 0 at 0. This I'm going to actually need to solve for x and take the square root, which this is what we talked about last time. We take the square root of a negative. That's going to be plus or minus 3i. If this is to the 5th power, we should have a total of 5 zeros. So this gives me 1, 2. This is your 3, 4, 5 because it's cubed. All right, why don't you take a second and try this on your own, and then when you're ready to see it, go ahead and play. Okay, so once we factor that x, you're actually left with another complete the square problem. We actually did this one before, but it's not going to hurt you to do it again. So, like I said, we're taking half of 1, squaring it, so that gave me 1/4 on both sides. And so I have a 0 at 0, and then I have 2 imaginary ones there. Okay, so this is a different type of problem. We're going to use factor by grouping. You could actually use that possible real zero theorem if you want, but I'm going to show you factor by grouping because we've been working on that on Delta Math. So I'm going to look at what these two guys have in common and factor that out. And then these two have 4 in common, but I'm going to pull out the negative so that this happens, so that these are matching. So factor the GCF here and here. Now one more time, because these are the same, I'm going to factor that out, and that leaves me with an x squared minus 4. You should recognize this, it's a difference of squares. And if you want, you could write the x minus 2 squared. So now we know that there's going to be a touch. It's going to bounce off of 2, and it's going to cross through negative 2. Okay, so here's another one to try. I'm going to pause it and let you try it on your own, play it when you're ready to see it. So this one, I noticed that this power was twice the amount of this one, so I factored it. Negative 2 times 1 gives me negative 2. When you add them, you get negative 1. I just did x squared and x squared since this is x to the fourth. Set each one equal to 0, add over the 2, take the square root, don't forget your plus or minus. Subtract the 1, take the square root, don't forget your plus or minus. So this means I have 2 real solutions and then 2 imaginary solutions. That gives me a total of 4, which makes sense because we have a 4 here. Alright, so let's review. This is going to be the last thing that we do. Let's review how you work backwards. So if I tell you what your zeros are, you have -2, 2, and 3. These my factors are x plus 2, x minus 2, and x minus 3. So if you want the polynomial, you can factor this out, FOIL this out, and then FOIL again to get this. That's something we've already talked about. So let's talk about when you have imaginary or complex solutions. So if you have a degree of 2, we should have 2 zeros. And anytime we work out a complete the square problem where you have imaginary numbers, we always see plus or minus. We only see the plus, so you have to know that there's a minus out there. If these are my zeros, your factors are the opposite. So I'm going to do x minus 2 plus I and x minus 2 minus I. So these are my factors because these are my zeros. It's just the opposite. I'm going to distribute. And I'm going to use the box method to multiply this out. That's why we reviewed this last time in our interactive notebook. So x times x squared. Just go through and fill this out. You can pause if you want. Play it when you're ready to see. And then what should happen is a bunch of stuff should cancel or combine. And negative I squared is the same thing as 1. So when you look at things that cancel, the ix and these, that leaves you with x squared minus 4x plus 5, because this 1 plus 4 gives you 5. What's neat is if you actually use complete the square on this, you would get these as your zeros. So that's something else that you can do. You should be able to work from anything. If you have a graph, you should be able to get the zeros, get the factors, and vice versa. So what you need to do now is start studying for your test. And here are some book problems that you can work on. Covering 3, 4, and 3, 6 is what we did today. And this is what we did last time if you need to work on that. Don't forget you also have a Delta Math that covers 3.5. So kind of just skip around, do some problems that you think that would be challenging and that would help you get ready for your test. Come in next time ready with questions. Peace.